Welcome to today's lesson. In this lesson, we shall discuss about the physical divisions of India. In our previous lesson, we discussed about the location, extent and political divisions of the country. And today our topic of discussion is the physiographic division of India. Well, the video link of the previous lesson has been provided in the description for your reference. Well, we know our country India is a part of Asian continent. Now, do you know that it is also sometimes referred to as subcontinent? Well, this is because our country India has diverse geographical features and different physical elements like mountains, plateaus, plains, beaches, coastal plains, islands, etc. Thus, the country has all the elements that a continent should have. But since it is a part of Asian continent, so we call it a subcontinent. Now, let us dig a little deeper into the physical features or geographical divisions of India. Well, the most prominent physical feature of India is the northern mountains or the Himalayas. Well, the scenic beauty of this region is mesmerizing. One can find many snow-capped tall mountain peaks. The mountain peaks remain covered or shrouded with clouds. This region is very popular among the tourists. One can practice many adventurous sports like hiking, rock climbing, etc. So now let us locate this beautiful place in map of India. Well, this map shows the location of the Himalayas or the northern mountains. Here we find that the region is located in the northernmost and northeastern part of the country. It is an arch-shaped mountain range. See, the mountain range is in the form of an arc. And this mountain range forms the natural boundary between India and its neighboring countries like Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, China, Bangladesh and Myanmar. Thus, the northern mountain act as a natural frontier or natural boundary of the country. Now, the word Himalaya is actually a Sanskrit word which means abode of snow. And this mountain range is called so because it is very tall and it remains covered with permanent ice and snow throughout the year. Now, let me tell you that Himalaya is not a single mountain range but a collection of 3 parallel mountain belts. Let's know about them. Well, the northernmost range of the Himalayas is known as Himadri or the Greater Himalayas. So, this mountain range that lie in the extreme north is the Himadri range or the Greater Himalayas. Now, Himadri or Greater Himalayas is very tall. Its approximate elevation is 6,000 meters above the sea level. Now, 2 important hill stations of the Himadri range are Leh in Ladakh and Srinagar in Jammu and Kashmir. The middle range or the second range of the Himalayas is known as the Himachal or the Lesser Himalayas. So, Himachal or Lesser Himalayas lie to the south of the Himadri range. So, this is the Himadri range and the second one is the Himachal or the Lesser Himalayas. Now, 2 important hill stations of the Himachal range are Manali in Himachal Pradesh and Mussoorie in Uttarakhand. The southernmost range of the Himalayas is known as the Shivalik or Outer Himalayas. So, here see the line marked in pink shows the Shivalik range. As we can see here, it is the southernmost range of the Himalayas. Now Shivalik is comparatively lower in height than the other two ranges, that is the Himadri and the Himachal range. The average elevation of the Shivalik is less than 1500 meter. So we read that Himadri is the northernmost range, and in fact it is the tallest among all the ranges, and the average elevation of Himadri is 6000 meter. Next we have the Himachal range. It is the second belt range and it is lower in height compared to the Himadri range. The average elevation of the Himachal is about 400 meters. And thirdly, we have Shivalik range to the extreme south of the Himalayas, and the average elevation of the Shivalik range is about 1500 meter. So we find that Himalayas is a collection of 3 parallel mountain belts, and these mountain belts decrease in height from north to south. Now 2 popular hill stations of the Shivalik range are Nainital, which is located in the state of Uttarakhand, and Darjeeling, which is a part of West Bengal. So these popular hill stations that we often visit is located in the Himalayas. Well, as mentioned previously, the Himalayas are very lofty. In fact, they are the tallest mountain range in the world. Also, the world's highest mountain peak, that is the Mount Everest, is located in the Himalayas. And the average elevation of this mountain peak is 8,848 meters. So Mount Everest is the highest mountain range in the world and it belongs to the Himalayas. Now let me tell you that Mount Everest is not the highest peak of India but highest peak in the world, as Mount Everest belongs to the country of Nepal. See, in this map we can clearly find that Mount Everest is located in the country of Nepal. So till now we have discussed about the first important physiographic division of India, that is the northern mountains. It covers the northernmost and northeastern part of the country, and it is actually a collection of several parallel mountain ranges. To the south of the Himalayas lie a large fertile plain which is known as the northern plains. Now this region of northern plains is drained by 3 main rivers, Indus, Ganga and Brahmaputra. See, in this map we can find that the region of northern plains is drained by these rivers. Mostly it is drained by the tributaries of river Indus and Ganga. So therefore northern plains are also known as Indo-Gangetic plains, where Indo stands for river Indus and Gangetic stands for river Ganga. Now all these rivers originate in the Himalayas and eventually they flow down to the northern plains. Now these rivers play an important role in the formation of northern plains. When these rivers originate in the hilly regions of the Himalayas, they flow very swiftly and they erode the hills. Now eventually these eroded sediments are deposited on both the sides of the river banks, and over the years the gradual deposition of silt and alluvium brought down by the rivers led to the formation of northern plains. Also, the silt and alluvium brought down by these rivers make northern plains extremely fertile, and hence this region is very suitable for cultivation of crops. In fact, two main crops, that is rice and wheat, that forms an important part of our diet comes from the northern plains. In other words, whatever you eat, say rice, chapati, bread, idli, dosa, etc., have their origin in the northern plains. So therefore, northern plains is also sometimes referred to as food bowl of India, because this region supports cultivation of many variety of crops. Now, since this region is extremely fertile and has wide availability of water, therefore northern plains support agriculture, which is an important occupation of people living in India. So since this region is extremely fertile, supports cultivation of crops and agriculture, therefore northern plains is one of the densely populated region in India. That is, northern plains has high concentration of population. Well, an important region of the northern plains is the Ganga Brahmaputra Delta region. This triangular shaped land is formed when both these rivers branch out into several distributaries before entering into the Bay of Bengal. So, Ganga Brahmaputra Delta region is formed at the mouth of these rivers, and it is the largest delta region of the world. Another name for the Ganga Brahmaputra Delta region is the Sundarban Delta. So, till now we have discussed about the northern mountains and northern plains. As discussed just now, northern plains is extremely fertile and has wide availability of water, and it lies to the south of the Himalayas. Now let us travel to the western part of the country, where we shall find the physiographic division is quite opposite to what we found here. Well, before discussing about the physiographic division of the western part of India, let us first try to answer this question. It asks, which pair of rivers form the Sundarban Delta? And the options given are Indus and Brahmaputra, Ganga and Indus, Ganga and Brahmaputra, and Ganga and Yamuna. Well, which of these options do you think is the correct one? If you remember, I mentioned that Sundarban Delta is also known as Ganga Brahmaputra Delta. So, the correct option will be Ganga Brahmaputra. These are the two rivers that form the Sundarban Delta. So now if you travel to the western part of the country, then you will find a completely different region. The place is covered with vast stretches of sand and sand dunes. This region is extremely hot and dry. One can find thorny bushes, scrubs and few scattered trees here. Camel safari is a popular activity which is very popular among the tourists. It is an amazing experience to ride on the camel back through the wind-swept desert, and it also gives you a taste of the rural rustic life of the desert. So now let us locate this place in map of India. So the dry desert is located in the western part of India. Especially it lies to the west of Rajasthan. So here the region marked in red is the Thar desert, and the region marked in yellow is the state of Rajasthan. So here we find that Thar desert lie in the western part of Rajasthan, and it extends till Pakistan. So in other words, we can also say that Rajasthan forms as the natural separation between India and Pakistan. So till now we discussed about three important physical divisions of India, that is the northern mountains, northern plains and the Thar desert. Now let us move into the central and southern part of the country, and let's check the physical division of this part of India. Well, the central and southern part of India is actually a highland with a rugged topography. If you look into this region from above, then you shall find that it is roughly triangular in shape. And also this region is surrounded by water bodies on all three sides: Bay of Bengal in the east, Arabian Sea to the west, and Indian Ocean to the south. And this region is known as Peninsular Plateau. It extends from northern plains and continues till the southernmost tip of the country. So, from here we find that Peninsular Plateau covers a vast portion of the country. In fact, it covers almost half of India. So, as mentioned just now, the southern part of India is a plateau, that is a tableland with a flat terrain and steep slopes. Also, the topography of this region is highly uneven and rough. Here one can find many mountain ranges, and the region is dissected by several rivers that run here. So, as mentioned just now, the topography of Peninsular Plateau is very uneven, and here we can find many mountain ranges. The important mountain ranges of Peninsular Plateau are Aravalli, that lie to the extreme northwest. Then we have Vindhya and Satpura in the central part of the plateau. The western edge of Peninsular Plateau is flanked by the Western Ghats, and the eastern edge is bordered by Eastern Ghats. Another name for Western Ghats is Sahyadri, and another name for Eastern Ghats is Purba Ghat. Now, as we can see in this map, Western Ghats is a continuous mountain range, and it also has higher elevation than the Eastern Ghats, while the Eastern Ghats is a discontinuous range and has lower elevation than the Western Ghats. Just a while ago, I mentioned that Peninsular Plateau is dissected by numerous rivers. The important rivers that flow here are Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri. Now, except Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna and Kaveri originate in the Western Ghats, and eventually they flow to the east and drain into Bay of Bengal. Other important rivers of Peninsular Plateau are Narmada and Tapi. Well, they flow through the rocky areas of Vindhya and Satpura range, and eventually they flow to the west and enter into Arabian Sea. So, Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna and Kaveri are east flowing rivers, whereas Narmada and Tapi are west flowing rivers. So, we discussed that the southern part and the central part of India is actually a plateau region, and this physiographic division is known as Peninsular Plateau. The region is highly uneven and rugged. Several mountain ranges can be found here, and two most important ones are the Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats. Now, the edges of the Peninsular Plateau is covered by coastal plains. At the western margin between Western Ghats and the Arabian Sea lie the western coastal plains, while the eastern coastal plains are sandwiched between the Eastern Ghats and Bay of Bengal. So, these coastal plains forms the margin of Peninsular Plateau, and these coastal plains meet at Kanyakumari, which is the southernmost tip of mainland India. Another important fact about this coastal plains is that eastern coastal plain is a bit wider than the western coastal plains. So we have discussed in details about the 5 major physical divisions of India, that is the northern mountains, then we have the northern plains, Thar desert which lie to the west, Peninsular plateau which is this region marked in yellow, and finally the coastal plains. Now apart from these 5 major divisions, India also comprises of 2 small groups of islands, one lying in the Bay of Bengal and another one lying in the Arabian Sea. The islands form a significant part of the India's natural beauty. The region is covered by lush green forests and encompassed by a vast blue sea. Here, one can enjoy the natural beauty by living in the beach resorts. Also, some popular adventurous water sports like jet skiing, scuba diving, parasailing, etc. are practiced here. So these islands are literally paradise for the tourists. So now let us locate these islands in map of India. Well, we know that apart from the main landmass, India consists of 2 groups of islands. The island group that lie in the Bay of Bengal and to the east of mainland India is Andaman and Nicobar Islands. And the island that lie to the west of mainland India is the Lakshadweep. It lies amidst the Arabian Sea. Now, this is the zoom in picture of Lakshadweep, while this is the magnified map of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Now, in both these pictures, we find that the island consists of several small islands. So, these island groups are actually an archipelago. Where this term means a collection of several small islands. So now let us discuss about these island groups individually. Well, talking about Lakshadweep, it's a group of islands that lie to the west of mainland India amidst the Arabian Sea. Now, the word Lakshadweep means 1 lakh islands. It is called so because it is a group of 36 islands, and these islands are of coral origin. Well, apart from Lakshadweep, another group of islands that lie to the east of mainland India amidst the Bay of Bengal is the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Well, this island group is actually a collection of 2 large islands, the Andaman Islands and Nicobar Islands. They are separated by a narrow stretch of water body, that is the 10-degree channel. So, Andaman and Nicobar Islands are separated by the 10-degree channel. It is actually named after the latitude, that is 10° north, that passes through this region and separates Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So, here we come to the summary of the physical divisions of India. India consists of northern mountains that lie to the northernmost and northeastern part of the country. To the south of the northern mountains, we have the northern plains, which is a vast fertile region. The western part of the country is actually a desert, and it is known as Thar desert. The central and southern part of India is known as Peninsular plateau. The Peninsular plateau is bordered by western coastal plains and eastern coastal plains. Apart from these physical divisions, India also consists of 2 groups of islands, Lakshadweep and Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So this map shows the complete physical divisions of India. And from here we can infer that India truly has varied geographical features or physiographic divisions. Now, given this vast diversity, India is truly termed as subcontinent, because here one can find mountains, plains, desert, plateau, islands, beaches, everything. So this brings us to the end of today's discussion on the physical divisions of India. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. You can also register for free at deltastep.com or download the DeltaStep app to learn one-to-one with our amazing teachers or to get access to our 5,000 amazing videos as per your school syllabus. Master each topic with our adaptive practice technology. Get million-plus questions with step-by-step solutions and unlimited mock tests. Get all your doubt resolved instantly. Learn via games and win amazing prizes like PlayStations and iPads. So at DeltaStep, learning is not just fun and easy, but it's rewarding too. So register for free now.